Okay, we're going to start recording the lab notebooks, how you do them. Hopefully you'll have an example to go by. I've also given you the handouts. Ms. Hawkins should have given you those by now. But I have for you, I've drawn my Beauty Must drawing. Here's the table of contents. If you haven't already started writing in your notebooks, take the first 2 full pages as a table of contents. And on each of these table of contents, we're going to draw a line. Oops, I don't know what I did then. Just draw you down. Oops, hopefully you'll draw a straighter line than I did. And here is going to be the title. You're going to write the word title here. You're going to write the word date here. And you're going to write the word pages here. And each time you do a lab, you're going to write the actual title here. Now, I'm going to title mine Density Lab because that's what I titled this lab. You absolutely can come up with your own title. So that's what I'm going to put right here. Density Lab. And this is, in my lab notebook, this is going to be page 1. So I'm actually going to start my Density Lab starting on pages 2 through I don't know yet. And when I finish the lab, I'll come back and put the date that I finished. I mean the page number that I finished on. I'm actually starting this today, so I'm going to date this today, 11/28/16. And then the rest of this is going to get left blank. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to number my pages. This is page 2, and I don't care if you number at the top or the bottom. You can choose. That's a personal preference. I think I would probably number at the bottom myself, but again, that's totally your choice. Now at the top of this page, you're going to actually title this thing Density Lab, or however, you're going to come up with your own title. If you like the title Density Lab, that's on you. Okay, so you're going to title this somebody came up with, identifying unknowns with density. It's up to you entirely. Now, these are lines on your lab notebook. This is a time when you are actually allowed to skip a line, because in a lab notebook, I'm patterning this off of what you will have to do when you take like organic chem or one of the upper chems in college. Now, you may skip that first line, and on the second line, you're going to write the word purpose. I did this for you on this one lab. I already told you that. And now you're going to write your purpose. Write. Nice, good, complete sentences. You write it. Now you're allowed to skip one line, and then you're going to write the reference. Again, I wrote the reference for you for this lab. So you're going to write your reference. It'd be like a works cited that you write in a works cited page. Then you're going to skip one line, and you're going to write your materials. Now, I did forget to write your materials for this particular lab, so I'm actually going to use this as an opportunity to tell you what materials that you're actually going to need for this lab. And since I'm also at the bottom of the page, I'm going to show you, I explained this in your how-to, but I'm going to show you how to do this. When you get to the bottom of the page, you're going to say continued, on page, and like I'm continuing on page 3, I'm going to sign it, and I'm going to date it. And that's the way you're going to do it each time. At the top of page 3, I'm going to put continued from page 2. Now, that seems kind of silly, but I assure you there have been times, and it's happened just this year, that we got to working on 2 labs at one time, and you cannot skip pages in your lab notebook. It is simply not allowed. And so they put, it would be like continued on page 7 or 12 or whatever, and then the next lab would be continued from page 14. So I'd have to go back and forth like that, but because you cannot skip pages, and you have to go on to whatever page is the next available page. So we're good there. Here are the actual materials that you need for this lab, and you can list them. You can either list them as a list, or you can do columns. That's completely up to you. You need safety glasses. You need your small graduated cylinder. I'm going to abbreviate here. You need your large graduated cylinder. You need your known metal sample. You need a balance. You need your unknown metal sample. You need an unknown liquid. And you need paper towels. And I believe that's all you're going to need. And notice that I'm at the bottom of the page again, so I'm going to put continued on page 4, and I'm going to sign it and date it. And I'm going on to page 4. At the top of page 4, I'm going to put, this is page 4, continued from page 3. And then I'm going to move right on. Now I'm allowed to I can either start on the first line. Again, here are my lines on my page. I think I did a great job writing in this book, making these lines. Now, the next thing is your procedures. Now for this particular lab, I literally wrote out your procedures for you, step by step. Again, you may choose to use the procedures that I wrote for you, or you may choose to write them in your own way. That is completely and totally up to you. But you're going to write them. And you can put step 1, right, step 2, right, and go on like that. All right? Now, once you have finished writing your procedures, guys, then the next thing is skip one line and you're ready for your experimental data. The experimental data for most students is the hardest part because you must write this on your own, and you're to write this as you're in the lab actually doing the experiment. It must be written, and it's in your how-to, it must be written in third person and in past tense. So instead of saying, I did this, say, this was done. Instead of saying, my partner measured the water, say, the water was measured. The volume was. That's how you're going to do it. Okay? That's how the proper way to do a lab notebook is. And I'm going to be checking, or Mr. Mahar is going to be checking on making sure that you use very good descriptive words. I specifically asked you in this lab notebook to write 3 good properties of your known metal. Was it shiny? Is it hard? Is it, what shape is it? Give some very good descriptions of your knowns and your unknowns for that matter in this lab. And write them. Write them. Don't just say, oh, it was gray. Well, what color gray? Dark gray, dull gray, shiny? Was it soft? Could you smush it? What? Explain. And then you're going to need to come up with you some data tables as well. I'm sure Mr. Mahar is glad to help you find those and come up with those. But you're going to come up with those also. So you're going to continue to write these procedures, and you've written all the way down. You're going to continue on page continued from page 4. Okay? And you're going to continue on in that matter with your experimental data and so forth. I hope you understand this. I hope you have really good luck. I'm pulling for you. Have a great day.